Hello, we're going to try and have a look at and talk through a little bit about my Heart is a Liar by the Stray Cats and look at some of the ideas, or at least how it seems to me. To some degree, these will just be, not note for note like the record, but more generic ideas, that you can work on and try and make your own a little bit and just play around with. I've put a few notes in the sort of description box, so just have a little look at that, and that might just give you a few other pointers as well. Right, so let's get started anyway. The majority of this, it's based around, sort of in the key of D and based around the D. But for some of this bass movement we're going to do, it'll actually be worth your while by working around this D shape, which is exactly the same frets as this, but instead of using our first three fingers, we're going to use the back three. Now that could be awkward at first and might seem a little strange, especially using your third finger, pulling it on and off. So just work towards that and build up your ability to do that. It might take a little while, but I do strongly advise it. That'll allow us then to use our first fingers just to do the bass movements. And also for a lot of it, we won't actually need our third finger fretted. So most of the time I'll actually just be playing just two fretted notes, the second fret of the third string and the third fret of the B string. You can play this finger style, picking fingers, Setzer style. You just try, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Just try and get the shapes down, the notes down, the rhythm ideas down, and then worry a little bit about the other shit later. Right. I think the best way for me to do this is not explaining too much detail. I'd suggest I'll explain what I'm changing to, but just try and watch more than anything, and almost just mimic, type it. There's a lot of bouncing with the hand, and just try and go for that type of feel. Anyway, we'll get started. So we're going to start with this shape. We'll have a little descending bass line happen, starting with the D string. Sometimes playing the bass on its own, sometimes playing it simultaneous, a little bit of alternation. So starting it off. Then open A string to the second fret B note. As we pick those notes, we then can come back up through these strings here. I play 1, 2, 3. And an alternative way of getting to this B note is actually including the B flat as a little passing note. I heard that once or twice. I wouldn't suggest using it all the time, but perhaps in the second verse or the link into the second verse, it might be useful just to make it a little different there. That would sound. Sorry. Or with the passing notes. It's not that big of a big deal, to be honest. So worry more about just getting the basic thing happening. So from the second shape we've done with the bass note on the B note, then we do this little pick from strings 1, 2, 3. Take off that finger, play the open A string, and then fret second fret first of the low E, the F sharp. F sharp, play that, and then I bring the third finger down onto the first string, play it with it on and then off, work through the strings again backwards, 1, 2. This time when we get to the G string, instead of playing the fretted note, I happen to take it off, play the open G. Then keeping the little finger there, moving to this E-7 shape, little fingers on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. I'm going to use that E-7 shape, and then by dropping the 3rd finger onto the low E on the 3rd fret, keeping that 2nd finger there and having a low E, having the high E ringing through. That gives us a kind of a G6 thing, which seems to work for the intro and verse patterns. And again, a kind of a jumping, bouncing rhythm through those. There are a few ideas that can be done to those to make them a bit more interesting, but let's see what it's like first. So, I mean, one thing when I get to that G, you know, one little thing I occasionally do to kind of turn it around back into the starting chord, the D. We've already got that note fretted, play the note, then the open string and into the D. That's one option. Another would be when we get to the G again, and we'll just make a little bass run down as we hit the G. We then go to the 2nd fret low E, open low E. If the string would go any lower, it would take us down to a D note, but we don't need that because we're going to head back to the D chord. So this little run down. It can be a nice way. I think it's the actual bass that plays that run more than the guitar, but I think the guitar might do it as well. In context, let's see. Another one there, when we get to doing from the F sharp, using the F sharp to lead us to the E-7. That's quite nice. I know there's a handful of things there, and I'm not sure if I've explained that easy or it's complicated, but give it a try, and you know, if something there doesn't make sense, please feel free to either leave a comment or send me a message or something like that, and I'll try and break it down a little bit easier. I just, you know, I don't want to go overboard trying to explain every single little thing if it's not necessary, but just give that a try anyway.